Think about it. When was the last time you lost your peace over someone's silence? You send a message to someone you care about and expect a quick response, but nothing comes back, or at least not quickly enough. You check your phone once, then again, then a third time, pretending you're not waiting. No reply, just silence. And suddenly you feel it, that shift. Your chest tightens, your breathing changes, your mind starts scanning for what went wrong. You feel that quiet panic creeping in. Did I say too much? Did I say too little? Did I misread something? You tell yourself to relax. You know sending another message will look desperate. You know it lowers your value. And yet, before you even think it through, you're typing, you're explaining, you're pouring your heart into a long paragraph trying to secure something that was never meant to be forced. And here's the brutal truth. The more you beg, explain, or chase, the more power you give away. But what if that moment, that exact moment of tension, is not a weakness? What if it's a training ground? In this video, we're going to break down 5 practical Stoic lessons that train you to master yourself in those exact situations. Not in theory, in real life, in real time. In the seconds when your emotions want to take over, you will learn how to hold your position when others rush. How to stay grounded when uncertainty appears. How to project calm strength instead of nervous energy. And how to build a presence that doesn't scramble, doesn't beg, and doesn't chase, because it doesn't need to. The best part. These shifts are small, but small shifts compound. And when they compound, they change how people respond to you. They change how you move. They change how you feel inside your own body. Stay with this. You're not just watching, you're training composure. Most people are ruled by tension. You're about to rule it. Let's begin. Number 1. Stop chasing. Let's stop pretending. You didn't send that second message because you care. You sent it because you felt power slipping. Silence makes you uncomfortable because it removes control. And instead of holding your ground, you moved. You explained. You clarified. You softened. You reached. Not for connection, for relief. That's the real problem. You weren't chasing a person. You were outsourcing your emotional stability to their response. You were outsourcing your rhythm to their availability. And every time you did that, you trained them. You move when they go quiet. You react when they withdraw. You scramble when tension rises. That is not romance. That is power leakage. Scarcity creates value. What is rare is respected. What is constant is expected. What is expected is taken for granted. When you are always available, always explaining, always filling silence, you are predictable, and predictable men are controllable. But when you stop, when you don't rush, when you don't fix, when you don't cushion the tension, they feel it, they replay, they notice, they calculate. Because now the rhythm is not theirs, it's yours. Silence doesn't beg. Silence reclaims position. And every time you resist that urge to chase, you harden. You become harder to move, harder to disturb, harder to manipulate. That's not emotional suppression. That's strategic restraint. And restraint is power. Number 2. Sit in silence. Regain command. When tension rises, what do? You reach, you call, you text, you explain, you seek reassurance. Because noise feels like action, and action feels like control. But most of the time, it's panic disguised as effort. When someone pulls back, your mind starts running stories. They're losing interest. I messed this up. I'm about to lose this. And before the story slows down, you move. You try to correct. You try to clarify. You try to secure, not because you're certain, because you're uncomfortable. And discomfort makes weak decisions. This is where most people lose position. They react while emotional. They speak while unsettled. They negotiate from instability. And instability leaks authority. Silence is not withdrawal. Silence is delay. Delay gives you power. When you don't react immediately, something important happens. Your emotions burn off. Your judgment returns. You stop responding from fear. You start responding from choice. That is the difference between a man who is ruled by tension and a man who governs himself. Marcus Aurelius did not respond to every insult. He did not correct every misunderstanding. He did not chase approval from critics. He ruled an empire under constant pressure. If he reacted to every disturbance, he would have ruled nothing. So he trained himself to pause, to examine his judgment, to ask, is this within my control? Most of what triggers you is not. It is interpretation. It is projection. It is ego reacting to uncertainty. When you sit in silence instead of reacting, you reclaim your internal authority. You refuse to let someone else's behavior dictate your posture. And externally, something shifts too. They expected movement. They expected clarification. They expected pursuit. Instead, they get stillness. Now they have to sit with their own actions. Now they replay. They feel. They question, not because you attacked, because you stopped cushioning the tension. Silence removes emotional padding. It forces reality to stand on its own. That is power. Here is the discipline. When something destabilizes you, do not respond for 24 hours. Not because you're playing games, because you refuse to speak from instability. Move your body, write your thoughts down. Separate fact from interpretation. Only act when your breathing is steady and your mind is clear. That is not weakness. That is command. Most people react. Few people govern themselves. When you master that pause, you stop outsourcing your emotional stability. You stop scrambling for control. You become measured, deliberate, unmoved by temporary tension. And that kind of composure, it unsettles people who rely on emotional reactions to maintain advantage. Silence, used this way, is not softness. It is dominance without aggression. Number 3, stop pleasing. How often do you adjust yourself just to avoid tension? You soften your tone, you over-explain, you apologize to keep things smooth. You shrink slightly so no one feels threatened. That is not kindness, that is fear of disapproval. And pleasing is expensive. Every time you bend to keep someone comfortable, you train them to expect you to bend again. You become easier to keep and harder to respect. Chasing is pleasing, begging is pleasing, over-explaining is pleasing. They are all attempts to secure approval. But approval earned through self-abandonment is unstable, and unstable approval keeps you anxious. Here is the discipline. Today, catch one moment where you would normally over-adjust. Say less. Hold eye contact. Do not rush to smooth the tension. Let them adjust. Identity shifts in small moments of restraint, and when you stop pleasing, some people would resist it. They were used to your flexibility. They were used to your compliance. Now they feel firmness. You did change. You stopped negotiating your alignment, and that change alters dynamics. Number 4, stop explaining. How often do you rush to defend yourself when misunderstood? You want to correct the narrative. You want to be seen accurately. So you explain. and explain. And explain again. But explanation under pressure signals insecurity. Confidence does not argue for itself. It stands. When someone has already decided who you are, more words rarely change that, but your composure does. Every time you overdefend yourself, you communicate that their opinion controls your stability, and that weakens authority. Here is the discipline. When misjudged, pause. Do not respond from ego. Ask yourself, is this explanation necessary? Or am I trying to control perception? If it is ego, let silence work. Time exposes consistency. Over time, restraint builds more respect than argument, and respect that rises naturally lasts longer than respect demanded. Number 5. Detach without announcing it. Most people announce their boundaries. They perform their exit. They make speeches. They demand reaction. That is still seeking validation. Real detachment is quiet. You do not threaten to leave. You simply stop investing where there is no return. You do not argue your value. You remove access. Calmly, without drama, without performance. And when you do that, dynamics shift immediately. Because people expect resistance. They do not expect silence. They do not expect absence. They do not expect someone who can walk away without theatrics. Detachment without announcement signals one thing. You are self-contained. Self-contained people are difficult to manipulate, difficult to guilt, difficult to destabilize, and that is real power. You are not becoming cold. You are becoming sovereign. You are not withdrawing because you are weak. You are withdrawing because you refuse to be moved by every emotional current. And when that discipline compounds, something changes. Your posture steadies. Your reactions slow. Your presence deepens. People feel it, not because you are louder, because you are unmovable. That is silence used correctly. Not as avoidance, as authority. If this message resonated, write in the comments, "My silence is my weapon." Subscribe and stay close. More lessons await.